My name is Ladin Tetong. I am the director and co-founder of Tibet Action Institute. Oh, I don't think I could even count the number of times I've been targeted with potential malware or online sort of attacks. The really good ones have been fewer, so maybe a handful, 3, 4, 5 to 10. I would say those are more sophisticated social engineering type attacks, and then others, countless. Yeah, so the Cheng Li attack was a really, I would say, I don't want to give them too much credit, but was a very sophisticated, well-crafted email attack that came to me in 2012. That email also, for a second, made me feel just good that such a person as Cheng Li would be looking into the self-immolations in Tibet, and that I was being asked to help. But I pretty quickly realized that it was likely a fake email, not really Cheng Li, because it included a sign-off that said Happy Tib Losar. It was the time of Tibetan New Year. To be very frank, I have come a long way, I think, and this is something I think we can't underestimate, or we have to be really mindful of in terms of the people that we work with, that we train, and just what these kind of attacks, cyber attacks, hacking attacks, just like malicious targeted attacks, what they do to people psychologically and emotionally. Because I did, for some time, especially during really intense work periods, especially where we were trying to do confidential things, or where Tibetans inside Tibet could be at risk, or our work could be at risk, it really, I have to be honest and say, it impacted me in a negative way. It made me stressed and overly paranoid, and also caused a lot of worry. I think I was at a point in my life where I had a lot of responsibility, especially in the days of Students for a Free Tibet. I mean, on the one hand, I think being targeted for someone like me who's engaged in the struggle, openly challenging and fighting the Chinese government and their occupation of Tibet, to be very frank, it is reassuring that I must be doing something right. We must be doing something right for them to come after us in a targeted way. So I think that's always my perspective and a gut reaction and feeling. Our digital hygiene, how we behave, is more important than trying to find some super sophisticated tool that will protect us, or some magic pill that will, you know, keep us safe. That it really is. I do believe it really is up to me. It doesn't mean I'm perfect. I make mistakes. I do things I shouldn't occasionally, and then I usually have a lot of guilt, or just a recognition that the stress I feel afterwards isn't worth it. And yeah, I feel like I feel quite empowered. I know that there's no foolproof method, but layered protection to me is really the key. For the average person, it just doesn't feel that easy to defend oneself. And I think a lot of people don't necessarily think that they matter in the big picture. So what we've tried to do for years, and what I still think is key, is that everyone matters, every person, that we're all so closely linked and connected, that we need to, and that's not just the Tibetan world, that goes beyond into every community, that you're only as strong as kind of your weakest links. And if there's a way in, even for the Pentagon or the White House or the highest levels of security apparatus around the world, it's up to everybody to keep the collective group safe. And then also, yes, the threat is there, but the potential to protect ourselves is also there. And it really is, we need good leadership. So all the community leaders, and from the highest levels of the Tibetan government, which I see for sure happening, that we lead by example. We, not just talk about these issues, but we make opportunities available for training and resources. And it's a ever evolving, constant process. It's not something you do once and then it's done. But that's fine as long as we, if you think of the hours. I always used to say in trainings, if we think of the hours, we used to ask people to calculate how much time they spend online, you know, on their computer, on their phone, on the internet, World Wide Web. And if you start to calculate those hours, and then how much time have you spent training or educating yourself, or how much digital security time have you spent thinking about digital security? And if your answer is as the gulf is as wide as I think it probably is, then I think it's a sign to people that it's not just about politics. It's about protecting your money and your identity and your family and your children and, grandparents, and it's economic, financial scams. It's everything. And the sooner we accept that, I think the safer and better off we will all be. And for Tibetans, the extra piece there is we're engaged in a freedom struggle. Maybe not every person is a leader, a sergeant, a general, a captain, whatever in the struggle, but we're all in it, whether we like it or not. And we have to help ourselves in this way, and we can.